When my mind link request had been ignored by my parents for the 20th time, I went to the werewolf council, clutching the report on silver dust corrosion in my hand. Hello. I'd like to renounce my pack identity, effective immediately. 10 minutes later, my parents burst in, dragging my adoptive younger sister Elsa with them, panic written all over their faces. His fangs bared, claws twitching.
You're nothing but a spoiled brat craving attention. Stop this pathetic act! You're an embarrassment to Abeta's name!
My mother, a forensic specialist for the pack, immediately snatched the report from my hand. After a brief glance, she let out a cold sneer.
You faked this report just to get our attention? You've been a liar since you were a pup.
Elsa clung to both of them, tears in her eyes as she sobbed.
I'm sorry, Jennifer. It's my fault for holding the shifting ritual. But please, don't lie to our parents just to make them feel guilty.
Counselors once more. I haven't had a real family for a long time. Please remove all my personal records from the pack. I was infected with silver dust corrosion after falling into a silver mine 10 days ago. The healer strongly requested that I receive treatment at the infirmary. However, when I arrived, I was told that all the healers had been dispatched to the front lines. The pack was at war with neighboring clans. I had no choice but to turn to my parents for help. After my mind link was rejected for the 20th time, I clutched my corrosion report and dragged myself to the werewolf council. Hello? I'd like to request the removal of all my personal records from the pack database in advance. The counselor gave me a sympathetic glance and asked softly,
Poor little child. Don't you have any family members to stay by your side?
Just as the words left her mouth, my parents stormed in, trailing behind them Elsa. My dad didn't even hesitate. The moment he saw me, he exploded. No chance for me to explain. He jabbed a finger in my face and roared,
You pulled this pathetic stunt just to outshine Elsa and steal our attention.
His voice shook with fury.
Your selfishness ruined in Elsa's coming-of-age ceremony! You're an embarrassment! A disgrace!
He spat. I stood there, completely frozen. It took me a while to remember that today was Elsa's coming-of-age ceremony. My father had taken 2 full days off just to celebrate her. And me, his own daughter nearly killed by silver dust corrosion, had reached out to him 20 times through the mind link, just begging for a healer. But instead of help, I was condemned for wasting the pack's resources. A disgrace, a shame to the pack. Because to him, I wasn't a daughter, I was a burden, a troublemaker. Tears welled up in my eyes the moment I heard his words. I touched my burning cheek and tried to explain. Dad, I didn't—
Still defending yourself!
He shouted. My mom snatched the report from my hand and gave it a quick glance. Her sneer was colder than the silver dust eating away at my body.
You forged this just to get our attention. Well, congratulations. You got it. Elsa's big day is completely ruined because of you! You've been a liar since you were a pup. Why on earth would we believe you now?
Her fury boiled over. Just as she raised her hand to strike me, Elsa rushed forward and stopped her. Tears shimmered in Elsa's eyes as she pleaded.
I'm sorry. Jennifer, I didn't mean to hurt you by having the shifting ritual. Please don't lie to our parents anymore, okay? They're already exhausted from everything you've done. If you stop lying, I swear, I'll do whatever you want.
My mom pulled her into her arms and gently wiped away her tears. Tears that should have been mine. Watching their tender embrace felt like a dagger through my chest. I stood there, frozen, and had a family for a long time. I said hoarsely, please remove all my personal information from the pack registry. My funeral is scheduled 3 days from now. My dad burst into laughter the moment he heard my words, his eyes gleaming with bitter irony.
What a joke! You really dragged the council into this circus just to ruin Elsa's ritual? Unbelievable! You'll pay for this! Jennifer, and don't you dare tell anyone you're my daughter!
With that, he turned and walked away without a second glance. My mother followed, Elsa trailing behind like the beloved child she was. After finishing the paperwork alone, I walked back to our den alone. I had 3 days left to live. While I fought silver dust corrosion alone, erasing myself from the pack's records, my parents raised their glasses to their adopted daughter's glorious transformation. I didn't return home out of longing. I came to pack what little was left of me. But when I stepped inside, I realized there was nothing worth remembering. I had always lived in the warehouse, the smallest, dampest, darkest corner they could spare. There were only old clothes inside, and even those were just hand-me-downs no one else wanted. Elsa's dressing room was 3 times the size of mine. Everything she no longer wanted ended up in my room like I was nothing more than a dumping ground. When I finished packing, my magic crystal glowed. It was the tomb keeper.
Hello, Jennifer. You asked me to reserve the grave you picked. Remember, if you come by with the silver coin soon and book it, I'll keep it for you. Otherwise, someone else might take it.
I chose a grave just a week ago. It was quiet, wrapped in moonflowers and white roses. The kind of peace my wolf always dreamed of. She said she wanted to rest there, far away from this cruel, bitter world. But now, her dream will never come true. A pup like me, ignored by her own family, how could I possibly afford it? My beta father wouldn't even send a single feeler when I was rotting from silver dust corrosion. What makes me think he'd give me a coin to buy my own grave? I paused for a moment, then whispered, I don't need it anymore. My elder brother William came back just after I put down the magic crystal. He walked over with a puzzled expression.
Grave, what are you talking about?
For a moment, I thought maybe he knew something. Maybe he cared. But that illusion shattered the next second.
What kind of game are you playing now? Jennifer!
He snapped.
I heard you stirred up the whole werewolf council just to ruin Elsa's shifting ritual. Even I feel ashamed of you. You embarrassed our whole family. Elsa cried her heart out, feeling guilty for your drama.
You completely ruined her big day! Do you even realize how important the first shift is for a werewolf?
If she hadn't lost her real parents as a child, she wouldn't have had to grow up in someone else's home. Why can't you just be kind to her? For once.
I stared at William's furious face, feeling a lump rise in my throat so hard it choked me. Wasn't I the one always ignored, always treated like an outsider in my own home? Yes, Elsa's shift mattered, but what about mine? Not once had I joined a full moon run with our family since she arrived. Every time they promised to go hunting with me, something just happened to Elsa. A fever, an allergy, some excuse. And they'd rush to the infirmary with her, leaving me behind. Always. From the day she stepped into this house, they poured everything into her attention, care, love. But when I shifted for the first time, they forgot, completely. No one watched me transform. No one celebrated, no ritual, no guests, not even a word of congratulations. Yet for Elsa, they invited half the pack. They made a spectacle out of it. I stared at William, tears welling up in my eyes. A tightness burned in my chest. I couldn't stay in this freezing cold warehouse any longer. I got up, pushed open the tattered warehouse door, and walked straight toward the main house. William froze for a moment, afraid I would cause trouble, and hurried after me at once. I slammed the main house door open and stepped inside. William grabbed me and roared at me in a low, urgent voice.
Jennifer, are you done?
William, do you even remember the first time I shifted? Not only did all of you forget it completely, you didn't even care. No one said a word. No one asked me how it went, how I felt, or if I was scared. It was supposed to be the most important moment in a werewolf's life, and I went through it alone. It seemed that William remembered something because for a brief moment, I saw guilt flicker in his eyes. But his words were still cold, ice cold.
Why are you being so petty?
He snapped.
If you just admitted your mistakes and tried to make up for them, do you think our parents would have stayed angry for this long?
Just then, the front door opened. I heard their voices even before they stepped inside. My parents.
How dare you mention your first shift?
My father roared.
You're shameless! You don't deserve a ritual, not after what you did to Elsa.
His fury hit me like a tidal wave. His wolf was so close to the surface, I could feel it like it wanted to rip me apart.
Elsa's entire ritual was ruined because of you, but did she blame you? No. She begged us to forgive you. She cried so hard she fainted. Apologize to her. And you don't even feel a hint of guilt. Apologize to her, now!
Elsa snapped out of her sorrow, stepped closer, and forced a pitiful smile. Her voice, barely above a whisper, carried a trace of understanding as she said,
There's no need to apologize, Jennifer. But could you please bake me that walnut cake? I've been craving it for so long.
Mom's face immediately softened, lighting up with misplaced warmth.
Jennifer, just look at how kind Elsa is. She's giving you a chance to make things right. Why won't you take it?
I stared at Elsa's fake smile, my voice cold. Didn't you say you're allergic to nuts? Are you trying to frame me for trying to kill you? You insist I bake you a walnut cake, just so you can accuse me of poisoning you. Elsa's face turned pale when she heard my words. Then she rushed over and grabbed my hands, pleading in a pitiful voice.
I'm sorry, Jennifer! I forgot to tell you I'm allergic to nuts. I fell off the roof when I was a pup, and ever since, my memory hasn't been great. I really forgot. Please don't be mad at me.
Jennifer, you can just make a different flavor for me, can't you?
Seeing her fake, scheming smile made my stomach turn. I clearly remembered the first time I made walnut cake for her. I had no idea she was allergic. I did it purely out of kindness and sincerity, hoping to build a friendship. Just because she casually said she liked it, I went through dozens of attempts, but I didn't give up. I pushed through the pain and finally baked the perfect cake for her. However, Elsa ended up fainting from her nut allergy. When she regained consciousness, she threw herself into our parents' arms, sobbing.
Mom, Dad, please don't blame Jennifer. She worked so hard just to bake me a cake. She even said it wouldn't matter if I only had one bite. Please don't punish her. It's my fault. I shouldn't have been so greedy.
Under my parents' resentful glares, I stood frozen at her bedside, not knowing what to say.
I didn't know Elsa was allergic to nuts.
I murmured.
She never told.
Of understanding, all I got was my father's merciless rage, roaring, cursing, and a face twisted with hatred. My wolf flinched, terrified. That moment left a scar deeper than any wound. From that day on, she never felt safe again. He glared at me with undisguised disgust and roared.
Everyone in this house knows Elsa's allergic to nuts. Why are you the only one who doesn't? Don't try to fool us with your pathetic lies. I know exactly why you did it.
You were jealous because we love her more.
Thinking of that nightmare, I replied to her coldly.
I don't have time to bake it myself. Do it on your own. Or buy one from a store.
Elsa clung tightly to my arm, her voice trembling with fear.
I don't want to eat it again, Jennifer. Please don't be mad at me, okay? You're my best big sister. I can't lose you.
But as she spoke, I saw a flicker of hatred in her eyes. Her claws dug deeper into my skin, sinking in slowly but deliberately. The pressure grew stronger with each word she uttered. Pain shot up my arm, but before I could pull away, she suddenly collapsed to the ground, making it look as if I had pushed her. My parents and William immediately panicked the moment they saw her fall. My mother rushed over, scooping her up and frantically checking her injuries. It looked like Elsa had hit the back of her head. She leaned limply against my mother, sobbing weakly.
Mom, my head.
It really hurts. Am I going to lose my memory again?
William gently touched her wound and began rubbing it softly. Then he turned to me with a glare full of accusation and disappointment.
How could you be so vicious, Jennifer?
You've let me down. Completely.
My father's wolf let out a furious growl. In the blink of an eye, he lunged forward, and before I could even react, I was knocked to the ground by the force of his uncontrollable rage. He hadn't meant to hit me, but he did. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Even my father's wolf saw me as the enemy.
You shameless she-wolf!
He roared.
If you hadn't pushed her off the roof, would she still be suffering from memory loss? We never would have had you if we'd known you'd turn out to be this cruel. Get to your room now and reflect on what you've done.
I can't stand up anymore.
Even her howls had lost their strength, like her spirit was cracking apart inside me. My mother seemed to hear the agony in my wolf's cry. For a fleeting second, a flicker of sympathy passed through her eyes. But in the next moment, Elsa's louder sobs stole her attention again, and she turned away to comfort her without hesitation. I struggled to my feet, my legs trembling, my hands pressed hard against the wall for support. Limping, I dragged myself back to my room. I didn't sit there to reflect on my fault. Instead, I quietly pulled out the small bag I had prepared in secret. When they saw me come out with the package, they looked stunned, then sneered.
Well, well. Off to run away from home again? Playing that game once more? Jennifer, why can't you understand your parents? We only punish you because we care. We just want you to correct your mistakes. If you can't admit you were wrong, then don't bother coming back once you leave this den.
Their words hit me like icy wind, but my heart had already turned to stone. I'd been hurt too deeply, too many times. They had said, don't come back, more times than I could count. And this time, I wasn't going to beg to stay. There was nothing left for me in that so-called home, no love, no warmth, only pain and bitter memories. Without looking back, I walked out of the den. Just then, my father grabbed a bottle and hurled it at the ground with all his rage. The deafening shatter froze me in place. As I instinctively turned around, sharp glass shards flew straight at my face. One slashed across my forehead, but I didn't give in. I turned around and faced them all.
I have nothing left to hold on to in this place. If I'm nothing but shame in your eyes, then I'll cut all ties with you.
How dare you! What are you saying?
My father bellowed.
Absolutely not! I will never come back! I'll keep my word.
I turned my back on that old den, the place filled with memories, and vowed to erase them all from my heart. My shadow slowly vanished into the cold, windy night. Eventually, I stumbled upon an abandoned den, a place coated in dust and littered with old trash. Under the pale silver glow of the moon, yes, I remembered that once, long ago, I had truly been happy before Elsa came into my life. Back then, my parents loved me dearly. But they were always so busy with work that no one could stay home to take care of me. So, they sent me to the countryside to live with my grandparents. I still remembered the day they left me. My mother held my face gently between her hands, her eyes full of reluctant affection. She stroked my cheek softly and whispered,
Sweetheart, once I finish this task, I'll come pick you up as soon as I can. Just wait for me, okay?
So I waited. 1 year, 2, and by the time they returned, 4 years had passed. But they didn't come back for just me. Trailing behind them was another little pup. She was the daughter of one of my father's fallen warriors. Her parents had died in a brutal battle against another pack. My parents, moved by pity, adopted her as their own. They introduced her to me as my new little sister Elsa. And I accepted her wholeheartedly. I treated her as my blood, my family, my own. But fate was cruel. On her very first birthday with us, tragedy struck.
Mom, Dad, please don't blame Jennifer. I'm sure she didn't mean it. Just give her more time. I believe she'll come to accept me as her real sister.
From that moment on, I became the vicious and cruel pup in my parents' eyes. Her trust in me, once so warm, vanished like smoke. One day, I confronted Elsa, asking her why she had framed me. She smiled a sweet, innocent smile twisted with malice. Then she took me to the rooftop.
Come closer, Jennifer. I just want to talk where no one can interrupt us.
She grabbed my hand and pressed it against her chest, like she was begging for comfort. Then suddenly, she collapsed backward and fell off the roof, just as our parents arrived and saw everything. That single moment sealed my fate. They were convinced that I was jealous, that I had tried to hurt her. Since then, even when I wasn't feeling well and begged not to go to school, she would tell them I was faking it, pretending to be sick just to get attention. My parents believed her every word. Even the time she pushed me into the silver mine and left me to die, they refused to believe me. She and her little followers bullied me constantly. Yet she always managed to act innocent in front of them, shifting every blame onto me. And my parents? They always sided with her. So, once again, I was locked in a cellar like some kind of criminal. No food. My wolf became so weak, so fragile. When I was finally rescued from the mine, my wolf was barely clinging to life. I tried to mind link with my family, desperately hoping for comfort, even a sliver of concern. But all I felt was silence. They had blocked me out long before, cut me off, erased me. All because Elsa had already poisoned their minds. She told them I was lying again, that I'd made it all up just to frame her. And just like that, they chose to believe her lies over my pain. They didn't even hesitate. They never believed me again. I truly didn't understand. Why had my parents and even my older brother, the ones who should have loved me the most, drifted so far away from me? Was it really just because I had spent 4 years in the countryside? In the middle of the night, I woke up. My wolf was in agony, whimpering in my mind.
I think I'm dying.
I stroked my chest gently and whispered back to her, trying to stay calm. I knew she had inhaled too much silver dust. She was fading, and so was I. Suddenly, I missed my grandmother, the only one in the family who had ever truly loved me. She was kind, warm, and always there. But she had passed away years ago, and with her, the last thread of love in my world had snapped. Equals. In the pitch-black den, with no food, no water, and the wind howling through the cracks like ghosts, I clenched my fists in silent rage. Just then, William reached out to me through a mind link.
Jennifer, our parents still care about you.
He said gently.
They asked Elsa to bring you some medicine for your head injury. She even made it with herself. She's been trying to be kind to you, so could you stop making trouble for her?
Half an hour later, Elsa arrived at the temporary den. As I reached out for the sandwich she held, she suddenly dropped it on the ground, then crushed it under her heel, grinding it to crumbs. Her sweet smile twisted cruelly.
Jennifer, did you really think I came here to give you food and medicine? Oops, my bad. The medicine, I threw it away on the way here.
She said those words with a completely different expression than before. Her face twisted in jealousy and venom, her tone dripping with hatred.
Did you see the news?
She sneered.
The werewolf counselor who used to support you, she's been stripped of her position. Mom and Dad know about it too. They're furious because of what you did.
Could no longer contain my rage.
Why did you do that? Elsa!
She didn't hesitate. Her smile warped into a vicious grimace.
Because I hate you!
She screamed.
You bastard she-wolf! You're nothing but a cursed troublemaker. It was all your fault that the counselor lost her job. You lied to her. Who do you even think you are? Just a dying mutt corroded by silver dust? And now, you want to cry and let the entire pack know you're going to die? What a joke! You think Mom and Dad will believe you?
Don't kid yourself.
Elsa's eyes gleamed like a predator.
If you're really going to die, why don't you just get it over with and disappear already? Get out of our den and don't ever come back to ruin this family again! You're nothing but a cursed, unlucky she-wolf.
I stared at the fury twisted on her face, but strangely my heart was calm quiet as a still lake.
Elsa,
I asked, my voice low and bitter.
why do you keep hurting me again and again, when I've never done anything to hurt you?
She laughed cold, sharp, and laced with mockery.
Hurt you?
She sneered.
I'm sorry, but I don't have the luxury of kindness. I've only ever had one choice. To grab every chance I could to survive. You're their real daughter. I'm not. I was taken in like a stray mutt. If I don't fight to be loved, to be needed, I'll be thrown out like garbage again! I won't go back to being a nobody, an orphan!
I stared at her, my voice shaking but firm.
Was it you who hid the poison needles inside your birthday dress?
Her smirk widened. Without even blinking, she replied.
Of course it was me. I did it. I planned every step. I could even fake an allergy, just by taking some special meds.
She hissed with a twisted grin.
I'm not sorry for what I did. I had to do it, and I don't regret any of it. I'll do anything to destroy you. Jennifer, until you stop competing for their love!
For you, death is the best ending.
She leaned closer, her voice full of venom.
Oh, you look furious. What now? Do you think you can kill me?
My whole body trembled. Her poisonous words echoed in my head like a curse. Fury burned through my veins, mixing with the pain ravaging my body. I couldn't hold it back anymore. Gritting my teeth, I summoned the last bit of strength I had left and whispered,
Elsa, you're shameless.
Her expression twisted with rage. The next second, a crack echoed through the room. She slapped me so hard, I collapsed onto the cold floor. Darkness swallowed my vision, and then I passed out. She kicked me even after I had fainted on the ground, then turned away with a cold smirk like she had already won. But she didn't know. There was a magic crystal I had hidden in the corner, quietly recording everything. After a long while, I regained consciousness. Every bone in my body ached, and my wolf was barely breathing. I dragged myself up on trembling legs, every breath a struggle. My fingers shook as I opened a mind link with William, whispering with the last shred of strength I had.
Come get the magic crystal. See the truth with your own eyes.
It was my final day in this world. I could feel it beneath my bones. But if I had to die, then I would at least take the lies down with me. So I walked out into the cold, stormy night. My legs barely held me, but I didn't stop. Step by step, I vanished into the endless dark. I crept toward the grave with the last breath I had left, whispering to the guard in a voice too faint to be heard.
Burn me and scatter my ashes into the sea.
As soon as those words left my lips, I closed my eyes, and everything went dark. My soul slowly drifted from my broken body and returned to the place I once called home. At that moment, William burst into the den, drenched in sweat and panic. But before he could even speak, my mother snapped impatiently.
Who knows what kind of trick that cunning Jennifer is playing again? She actually asked you to go see her alone. She must be scheming to frame Elsa again. Elsa's parents gave their lives protecting this pack when she was just a pup. And what does Jennifer do in return? Instead of tolerating her, she targets her every chance she gets. Elsa has always given her a chance to make amends, but she never took it. Honestly, she's nothing but a disappointment.
William didn't argue. He simply placed the magic crystal in front of them, his voice cold and heavy.
Mom, just activate the crystal. Then you'll understand everything.
When my parents finally activated the crystal and watched the recorded vision, all their disappointment, contempt, and harsh complaints vanished in an instant. Instead, they sat frozen, their mouths agape in shock, too stunned to speak. Confusion quickly followed. My father stared at the glowing crystal in disbelief, his voice trembling with denial.
That has to be fake! I swear! It must be! Jennifer's always been good at faking things to trick us.
William stepped forward, his voice low but unwavering, filled with sorrow and frustration.
Dad, why are you so afraid of believing the truth? This isn't a fake vision. That's Elsa. Those are her words, her actions. She framed Jennifer, and none of us ever listened to her.
Tell me, was it true?
Was Jennifer really suffering from silver dust poisoning? While you all ignored her cries.
From the stunned look in my parents' eyes, I finally understood why they had always chosen to believe Elsa over me. It wasn't about logic. It was simple, they loved her more. She had become the center of their world, the one they protected, no matter what. They replayed the magic crystal's recorded vision again and again, almost obsessively, terrified they might have missed something, anything that could prove Elsa innocent. They wanted so badly for it not to be true. But after a long, suffocating silence, they finally looked at each other as if the truth had struck them both at the same time like a bolt of lightning. Panic. They began to mind-link me, again and again, desperate now. But of course, there was no response. None at all. And just then, a crystal communication stone glowed faintly on the table. It was the gravekeeper sending a message through the crystal. A calm, steady voice echoed from the crystal.
Is this Jennifer's family? I send this message to confirm, should her ashes be scattered into the sea, as she wished.
A sharp silence. Then,
What are you talking about?
my father's voice trembled, barely coherent.
What happened to my daughter?
For the first time, real panic flooded their eyes.
Has Jennifer really passed away?
My mother whispered, her voice cracking, almost inaudible.
Was she really suffering from silver corrosion? Did we truly misunderstand her?
Without another word, my father shifted into his wolf and bolted. My mother following right behind, both racing toward the graveyard.
You're late.
The gravekeeper said solemnly as they arrived, out of breath.
Your daughter died hours ago. She had chosen a grave for herself, but she couldn't afford it. She had no silver coins.
You're just saying this to help her fool us again!
Blinded by rage, he grabbed the gravekeeper by the collar and tore it apart.
This is all we found in her pocket.
The keeper said quietly, handing them a single photograph. It was a picture of their whole family.
My baby! My daughter!
My mother collapsed with a scream, pounding her chest with clenched fists as if to tear her own heart out. She fell to her knees. She wailed.
She never even told us she had silver dust corrosion.
A new voice cut through the wind.
Well, look who suddenly cares.
They turned to see the werewolf counselor, the only one who had once believed Jennifer. Her eyes burned with contempt as she sneered at them.
You didn't even know your daughter was dying. You don't deserve to mourn her. You blocked her mind links when she begged you to send healers, but you didn't. And when you finally showed up, you had the nerve to accuse me of helping her deceive you. You didn't even notice how pale she was. The first thing you did was cursed her mercilessly. And now you dare to blame her for not telling you she was sick? How pathetic. How cruel. How utterly heartbreaking to have parents like you.
Hearing those words, my father completely broke down. He choked on his breath, too devastated to speak. His voice cracked, hoarse and raw, but no cry could bring his daughter back now. I stood there silently, my soul hovering in the cold air, watching it all unfold. A bitter smile curled on my lips.
Why is it that regret only comes after you've already lost the one you were supposed to love?
My parents knelt before my grave for hours, refusing to leave even as the cemetery guard came to lock the gates. When they finally returned to the den, just as they stepped through the door, they were stopped by a sharp, shrill laughter echoing through the halls.
I told you those stupid old fools would never believe Jennifer. They love me now. I'm all they have left. If I'd known she'd die so soon, I would have pushed her into the silver mine long ago.
My father froze. His blood ran cold.
What did you say? You were the one who poisoned my daughter!
Elsa rushed out as soon as she noticed my parents had returned. She hastily cut off the glow of her speaking crystal and ran into their arms, her voice soft and sweet, dripping with false concern.
Mom.
Dad, what's wrong? You must be angry with Jennifer again, right?
You're still lying to us! You killed Jennifer. And you dare to pretend like nothing happened?
My mother struck her back with clenched fists, sobbing with heartbreak and rage.
How could you treat her like that? We gave you everything, all our love, all our trust, for years.
Elsa gasped, struggling to breathe under my father's grip. When he finally released her, she fell to the floor, coughing and crying with forced innocence.
It must have been Jennifer again. She always framed me, you know that. She was always playing tricks to turn you against me.
He dragged her into the living room and shoved the memory crystal into her shaking hands.
Watch what you did.
Her fingers trembled violently as she activated the crystal's vision magic. And then, as the scenes played before her eyes, her face turned white as snow. She dropped to her knees, pleading in a broken voice.
Mom! Dad!
He slapped her so hard she spun sideways from the force. Elsa froze, her hand clutching her cheek in disbelief. Tears welled in her eyes, but behind them, her expression twisted no longer innocent, but filled with burning hatred. Elsa threw her head back and laughed maniacally.
Yes, it was me. I pushed her into the silver mine. And what can you do about it now?
Blinded by fury and grief, they lunged at her and tore her apart limb by limb until her broken wolf form lay in silence. Blood stained the floor. The air was thick with the stench of betrayal and death. Then, still in wolf form, they rushed to my tomb, collapsing in front of the cold stone.
We've avenged you. Please, wake up. Let us hold you just once more.
We miss you so much.
My soul hovered quietly nearby, watching the scene with hollow eyes. I smiled faintly, bitterly, and whispered in a voice only they could hear.
I'm finally at peace now. But please,
don't call out to me again. The council ordered a public memorial for me 3 nights later. Moonflowers and white roses covered the empty grave I had once wanted but could not afford. Wolves from the pack stood in silence, many too ashamed to raise their eyes.
Jennifer was not a liar. She was a daughter abandoned by those sworn to protect her.
Father stepped forward without his beta insignia. His shoulders seemed smaller without power.
I accused her in public. I cursed her in front of the council. I blocked her mind link when she begged for help.
I was trained to read evidence, yet I ignored the evidence written across my child's body.
She asked me if I remembered her first shift. I didn't. Sir killed something in her long before Silver Dust did.
From where my soul hovered, I watched them confess. The pack wept. But confession was not resurrection. No amount of tears could put warmth back into my hands. Counselor lowered her head toward the grave.
Let this memorial stand as a warning. A pack that ignores a wounded pup has already betrayed the moon goddess.
On the 7th dawn after my death, William carried my ashes to the sea. My parents followed behind him, barefoot and silent. They had begged the gravekeeper to let them hold the urn, but he refused.
She asked to be burned and scattered. Shed did not ask to be carried home.
So William held me instead. At the shore, the wind rose gently. My wolf stood beside my soul, no longer weak, no longer coughing silver from her lungs.
Are we finally leaving?
I looked back one last time. Father had fallen to his knees in the sand.
Jennifer, I know you won't forgive me, but if your soul can hear me, know this. I will spend the rest of my life remembering what I refused to see.
Mother sobbed into her hands.
My baby, my daughter! May the moon goddess love you better than I did.
William opened the urn with trembling fingers.
Run free, little sister.
My ashes scattered into the morning sea. For a moment, I felt my grandmother's warm hand in mine.
Come home, sweetheart.
I smiled and turned away from the shore. I had no family there anymore. But beyond the tide, I finally had peace.